Welcome to the Illuminate Your Essence podcast, where we cut through the distractions, programs, and stories that have created chaos in your life and discover the truth, bliss, and joy that exists beyond the external clutter and resides within. Welcome back to Illuminate Your Essence podcast. My name's Wendy Bunnell, and I have one of the most beautiful, juicy, unbelievable women in studio today, and her name is Holly Kellogg. I said it right. You just got married, right?
I got married.
Oh my gosh, on 1/11, right? So I mean, this is brand spanking new, right?
New. Yeah, still excited and very into it. The sparkles are in my eyes for sure.
I love that. I love it. And you really do radiate. I have been immediately drawn by just your countenance and your energy. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking today about, because I really feel like spirit led me right to you, Holly.
Mhm.
Like I just see the unfolding. There was no coincidence in us meeting and me learning so many unbelievable principles for my own personal life and for my community here in Southern Utah. So, first of all, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for asking me, Wendy. I'm thrilled.
Absolutely. And then I want you to just kind of go into, we're going to be talking about goddess yoga, which is really an experience and almost a medicine more than it is necessarily traditional vinyasa yoga class that many of us have taken. And a lot of us love yoga, me included. This is very, very different. And so I just take us on a ride and a journey on what goddess yoga is. First of all, just explain to the audience what this is all about, and then explain how this landed in your life. How did you create it?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah. Well, a lot of us yogis, so I consider myself a yogi as well, and started in hot yoga, and a lot of us as women discover yoga and we're like, oh my gosh, it changes our life, helps us, feel more grounded and connected and, connected to spirit. So all the things, that yoga did for me, of course, like I was just like obsessed with it and loved it and practiced it, and then was blessed enough to open my own studio. But with that, I don't know if you know the background, but yoga was created by men for men's bodies, and it started to create burnout in my personal body. I started to feel like I couldn't quite reach that joy that I had found in the beginning. I just kind of felt like I was like burnt out on the postures, and my body was craving more freedom. And it's interesting because right as I was craving that in my personal practice, I was craving that freedom in my life, in my outer life as well. I started realizing like, wow, I am totally in this little perfect box that looks perfect on the outside, but on the inside, I was just dying. It was, we had this beautiful yoga studio 5 minutes from the beach in North Carolina, and I had this, beautiful son and husband, and it looked like everything was great. And on the inside, Wendy, I was so bored. I was so overworked. I was burnt out. For all of us women that know what it's like to juggle, of course, family and work. I was just burnt out. I was like at the end of my rope. And goddess is literally like the answer to my prayer. I remember sitting and praying like on the beach, like, please, like, universe, God, help me. How can I feel better? The thing that I always turned to, which was yoga, wasn't helping me anymore. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? And I realized I needed something really big. And so I was lucky enough to kind of recognize an opportunity to try this unique style of yoga that was brought to me by this sweet girl that I had met at the time. And she just out of nowhere called and said, can I come show you this style of yoga? And it was so different than anything I'd ever experienced. And the moment I started moving in this way, my body was like, yes, 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 yes. And by the end of class, I just knew, like, it was in my bones. I was crying. I was laughing. I felt sexy again. I felt young again. I felt like all those pressures of life, of being a mom, and all the I don't know, the expectations that I have of my had of myself, and
Wow.
then everybody had of me, and that I was doing for everyone, but I was so burnt out. I was sick all the time. I was had no joy in life. I was like, wow, I'm doing everything for everyone else and nothing for myself, and still no one's happy.
Yeah.
Happy. I'm not happy. No one's happy here. Why am I overgiving? And it was just this realization. So at the very end, my brain just was like, wow, this the way we moved in here was epic, but I could see it needing some spirituality. I wanted sisterhood. I wanted, I could see like my brain just started working. I could see all these different elements that it was missing that I would crave in it from a class. And it just started to kind of piece together in my mind. And I asked her if she would be willing to partner with me and show me these moves and kind of help me create a new style of yoga. And Goddess Yoga was born.
Mm.
That's kind of the beginnings, if if I'm keeping it short and sweet. But I think what Goddess does, if you want to talk about what this is, how is it different? Goddess Yoga is obviously designed by women for women, and it is a sensual, slow, deep, introspective, yet connecting to other sisters, along with intention and even activating our voices. It's sharing our hearts. It's like we have a saying in the goddess community. It's there's a version of yourself before goddess and a version of yourself after. Because
Mhm.
even one class is, we like to say, it's an experience.
Yes.
It's a journey. This is not a roll out your mat, come practice these poses and leave, an hour later. This is a very sacred, very profound practice
Yeah.
where you actually end up exactly like you said to me, Wendy, was your soul was like drawn to this.
Mhm.
Women right now in this world are drawn to feeling turned on again in life,
Yes.
feeling connected to their purpose and being able to speak their truth and like letting go of all the roles they were told they need to play for everyone and being like, but what do I want for me?
Yeah. Oh, I just want to be shouting, amen, amen, hallelujah. I mean, really, that's exactly why I believe Goddess landed in my life. I literally was at a conference, a business conference, okay? And someone mentioned it in their program. It was one of your instructors that is actually certified. And she mentioned the word. That's all she did. And it was like a freaking lightning bolt hit me and said, take note. And I immediately went and met her right afterwards. And my thought was, oh, I'm putting this yin on fire. I should see if she's interested. And the more I delved into it, I took your little free class online on Goddess Yoga International. And I was like, oh no, this is for me. And
Mhm.
so I immediately talked to you and one thing led to another. And what I discovered, because here it is, Holly, it was insanity for me to go and do like at first I did your online certification,
Yeah.
right? Which was beautiful and amazing, but I just spent 2 weekends ago with you for 4 days and you and your team. And now I embody this information, right? But here's the thing. I'm writing a book. I'm changing my career. I'm doing the audible version of my book. I am putting together a mastermind. I'm doing all these things. And then it's like, Spirit is saying, oh, and by the way, here's Goddess Yoga. And I'm like, what are you, what the what? Like,
Yeah.
really? Really? And what I found though, after the fact, because you always know when you listen to your heart and you take bold action, it doesn't always make sense. In fact, most of the time it doesn't make sense until you look back and go, I see why. It's because it was helping me to all the practical knowledge that I was teaching my clients and I was trying to live life. I almost died because of masculine energy, disempowered masculine energy. The world is based on disempowered masculine energy. Our systems, we have systems for everything, systems for government, systems for, education, systems for healthcare, systems for all of these things. And we have a system for life, right? Like you do life this way. And if you don't do it this way, then you're going to screw things up.
Mhm.
And I almost died because I embraced the system. And it's not designed for a woman. It's not designed for us to actually live life in an empowered and an expansive way. And so I believe Goddess came into my life at a point where it was like, you're doing the rest of your book and your podcast and you're filling your mastermind, and yes, you have learned the principles of divine feminine energy, but you haven't felt it yet.
Mm.
And so it was in that it's no mistake that I am actually practicing on almost a daily basis what the last month of my book, and I was feeling myself shift, right? Like I
Mm.
am no longer talking about flow. I feel flow. I'm
Mm.
no longer talking about staying in the surrender and this trust. I'm allowing surrender and trust to be a part of me. Um, I feel it. It's so different than teaching about it with a concept
I
and
know.
feeling it. And I know that you know what I'm talking about, right? Because you've lived
Well,
it.
Wendy, what you're saying, there's a word that describes what you're saying. And when we can learn all we want, we can read all we want, we can take all the online courses, we can be like, oh great, I'm feminine divine, feminine power rising, great. But you know what you're talking about is embodiment.
Mhm.
You are taking the concepts, and instead of thinking about them or conceptualizing them, you're allowing them in your body.
Yeah.
So goddess yoga unlocks our body's wisdom. We can listen to what our body is saying to us. We can listen to what our heart is saying. It connects us with the divine, with the channel, so that we can receive divine messages. It opens up our heart and our hips in ways that traditional yoga doesn't. So we're actually releasing old stories, releasing old trauma, old patterns, and we're able to see what truly does serve us. And in let's just say therapy, in which I love therapy. I actually go, it's like, I love therapy. So I'm not putting anything,
Yeah.
down about it. But in that, you're just learning concepts, like you just said, but you're not feeling it in your bones and your body. And that's what truly, when people are like, how is goddess yoga so powerful? It's like, it's awakening your body's wisdom and intuition and remembrance that you are a divine, sensual being designed on this earth to receive pleasure, to taste
Mhm.
sweetness, to slow down, to pour back into yourself, to feel alive and joy and happiness, not just like
Mhm.
this autopilot. So I'm not
Definitely.
surprised if
Yeah.
we talk about the divine, like you're very connected and you're on your life's mission doing your work to liberate women. I'm not surprised that God has showed up for you, and it did, because I'm sure at the last month of your book you are working really hard to
Yeah.
get this done. Like you were, this
Yep.
was like go time. So I'm not surprised that God has showed up to help you, like give a balance of, okay, wait, but let me tap back into what my body's saying, or let me
Yes.
just go into, yeah.
Yes. I believe that it is literally teaching you on a soul level the practice of not doing but being,
Mm.
right? And that's what feminine energy is stepping into this space of I am owning who I am, my femininity, my sensuality, my sexuality, right? And in creation, as women, we are chalices of creation,
Mhm.
and we create best in pleasure, right?
Mm.
I mean, that's we create life in pleasure.
Mhm.
So but we forget about that. And no wonder there's so many women when I talk to them that feel tired, overwhelmed, frustrated, discouraged because they've forgotten the art of receiving. They've forgotten the art of joy and pleasure. And it's actually when you start embodying that things literally start coming to you, right? Like I'm putting this Yin on Fire, this Yin on Fire festival together,
Yeah.
Holly. And since applying these principles and embodying goddess yoga, I'm noticing that people are literally, it's not a surprise when I get a text message that says, um, I'm a music producer and I would like to partner with you. I want to help you get the right people on your stages. And I'm not asking for any fee, right?
Mhm.
It's like, well, why? Yes. Why?
Mm.
Yes. And I'm not surprised when I'm upgraded in a hotel room. This happened at your particular
Yeah. Yeah.
retreat where like all of a sudden it was a little bit of an inconvenience. The furnace went out in my particular unit at the Hilton. And they're like, would you like an upgrade? Why, yes. Why, yes, I would like an upgrade to your best room.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Right. So I just see it coming because I'm embodying that. The energy that I'm putting out is attracting more pleasure, more things, more abundance. And I just see the wisdom and how this landed in my life. And I just, oh, the gratitude and the honor that I feel, and the honor and the gratitude I feel for you, because you know what? It took courage for you to think outside the box, right? This is not your traditional yoga class. So when people show up, what do they expect? Because it's not like a traditional goddess or yoga. You talked about it. Like we're not doing a set, um, it's more of feeling than it is doing, right? So let's
no.
continue this
It was
dialogue.
it was very risky when I created Goddess 9 years ago to offer something, first of all, called Goddess Yoga, which we did trademark. And so it is a style of yoga now. But it was very risky to offer something like this in a small southern town in the Bible Belt. This was like, I mean, I was like, am I going to get either shunned from the community or am I going to get torn down by traditional yogis that are like, this, how can you call this yoga? This is like blasphemous. And I had to just stand in my truth of what I was witnessing in myself. I was able to speak my truth in my marriage that I had never been able to speak
Mm.
for one class. And I started seeing women have these same results in their lives, like manifesting things, just like you said, being supported in ways and be the art of allowing. And all of a sudden they're like, abundance is coming to them. It's like, no, we're opening up these channels that have been blocked.
Mhm.
And so I just had to go with it. So yes, it is still considered definitely rebellious, which that's in my nature. So I'm okay with that. Um, but when women come to Goddess now, we have a container that we hold, a very sacred container, Wendy. So as you came into your first Goddess class this weekend, you know that you're welcomed. You're held in a circle,
Yeah.
and we explain exactly what this is going to be and what to expect. And so that when women that are used to traditional yoga are like, why am I sitting in a circle? What's going on here? We say, listen, this is not your traditional yoga class. Sometimes just, because my personal way I say, and anything you think you know about yoga, unlearn it here, because this is like a new way of being. And I'm just finding that like the women that have been practicing yoga for so long that feel stagnant, that feel stuck, they love their practice but it's not doing what they're like coming alive in this room.
Yes.
So it's not just, and then there's women that are brand new and have never experienced anything like this, that after one class are like, I need to teach this, I need to share this, how can I share this medicine? So it's deep, profound movement and work and sisterhood and activation. So yeah, it is introduced differently. We do introduce it, and the circle alone starts to hold that safe energy of, you are here to be seen and uplifted and witnessed and heard and celebrated.
Mm. Holly, I love everything that you've created. And you know what's so interesting on this particular podcast? You and I have had resistance after resistance with
Yes.
technology, right?
Yes.
And I'm getting we had to go to a different platform, and now it's notifying me that like if we don't wrap things up, it's going to
Oh,
end on its
okay.
own. And I just am
Well,
laughing. I'm literally laughing because I'm going, okay, well, then we'll just roll with it, because that's what we do as women. We just, and not just women, men have feminine energy too.
yeah,
It's just the art of embodying and being and flowing and trusting and surrendering. And so I guess we're supposed to wrap things up, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm okay with
this
that.
is,
Like, I
yeah,
feel like we have said what we need to say, but I also want I don't want people to not know how to access this. So I want to make sure we get straight to the point and say, how do they take a class? How do they get training if they want to be a teacher? Like, how do you do this?
absolutely. So you can go to goddessyogainternational.com, and that has a free half-hour class if you want to just sign up for that. You can experience Goddess in the mat in your own home. But we have trainings coming up in the next 3 months. We have ways that you can, there's instructors that offer online classes. But if you just send like an inquiry, they can also look up Goddess Yoga International on Instagram, and we'll get back with you. My team is amazing at really like, making sure that if you're interested in this medicine, that you receive it. So yeah, just Goddess Yoga International, free class. Any trainings coming up. We're going to have our first Goddess Yoga retreat this summer. So if you don't want to teach and you just want to come get deeper medicine, we're going to offer that as well. So yeah.
Love that. So goddessyogainternational.com. Make sure that you go there, see who is in your area, make sure that you come to Yin on Fire, because we're going to have this massive Goddess Yoga experience right there in beautiful Cedar City, Utah. So go in yinonfire.com to check that out, because Holly and her team will be there. I will be there doing Goddess Yoga alongside of you. And yes, I'm so yummy.
Yeah.
And I'm actually teaching my first community-based class this upcoming Sunday. I'm almost sold out. So if that calls to you, please make sure that you let me know. I'm going to at least do those monthly. And then of course, with my mastermind students, I'm furthering this embodiment by teaching my mastermind clients, the ones that want to change their entire lives by learning how to create the life that they enjoy and love, and magnify the abundance in their life by getting out of frenzy and hustle and grind and into flow and love and flow. And this just takes it to a new level. So here we are.
Oh my gosh, Wendy, that's so awesome that you help with that. And I can see Goddess supporting that. And you actually said something that I wanted to touch back around on just really quickly is Goddess is taught in 11 different states, and on the website, you can go to find an instructor. And so they may be able to find an instructor near them that offers live classes. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Absolutely. I really want you to get this in your lives out there. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh yeah, my whole body, it's a holy hell yes, then go there, find out where you can take a class. I want this in your life, whether it's here in Southern Utah or wherever you are here in the States and internationally. I'm sure it will be coming your way. So with that being said, thank you, Holly, so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I appreciate it.
You bet. Until next time, let's continue the dialogue, the deep dive, and the discussion here on Illuminate Your Essence. Thank you so much, my friends. See you next week. Thank you for listening. I invite you to continue the dialogue, the discovery, and the deep dive on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also on my website. Feel free to download your free copy of the 5 Steps to Discovering Your Inner Voice and begin your journey of discovering the truth within today.